up, guys? This is HeadKick Audio, episode 2. I am your host, Steve the Dick, and with me, as always, is your boy,
Crazy J. What's up, world?
in the sky, I imagine, and probably Dustin Poirier and Israel Adesanya's stock.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, even Kevin Gastelum's and Max Holloway's. The stock's got to be high. Those were two incredible fucking fights. We will be recapping UFC 236, which was headlined by Dustin Poirier, who defeated Max Holloway to claim the interim lightweight championship. And in your co-headliner, we had Israel Adesanya defeat Kevin Gastelum to claim the interim middleweight championship. So let me also let you guys know that we will have interviews towards the end of the episode from Pat Miletich. We finally were able to get that one going. And Amanda Bobby Cooper. So, dude, UFC 236. What the fuck, man?
Man, all around, this was just a really good card. Not a boring fight on this card whatsoever.
I think like the most boring part of the card was like the commercials.
Yeah, I second that.
I mean, usually there's like a stinker or something on a card where you can kind of point to be like, yeah, well, it wasn't that great of a card. There was this fight, you remember? And no, this card did not have one of those fights. Although, courtesy of my bad smoking habits, we did miss Khalid Taha defeating Boston Salmon in 25 fucking seconds. So, I'm sure it was a scorcher of a almost half minute. But we have nothing. We only watched the replay, and it looked like it might have been an early stoppage. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't get to see it live, so I don't know, so we won't touch on that one too much. But we actually did watch this card live. I mean, I know that kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but usually we'll watch the fights later. Like, we'll go and do stuff, and then we'll watch the fights, and then we'll record the podcast. Well, we decided, hey, fuck that shit. We're going to start watching these things live, and we're going to put out tweets and whatnot, congratulating fighters, talking about what an amazing or not amazing fights are going on. But yeah, so we gave it a shot this first time, and I actually kind of enjoyed it, except for I missed a fight, so we'll have to get better with that. Time management, not my thing.
I think we could all work on time management a little bit.
Yeah. So, for all of you clocking in to HeadKick Audio Episode 2, we're going to go ahead and get started on UFC 236, and we'll go from bottom to top, just the way you watched it. So, your preliminary card on Fight Pass is where we watched it. We had Brandon Davis making his bantamweight debut, and he defeated Randy Costa. I don't know if it needs to be like that, like authentic, or if it's just Costa. What do you think? You think it's Costa or Costa?
If you're white like me, Costa. If you want to put a little twang on it, it's Costa.
It's Costa. It's gonna cost you a lot. Anyways, Brandon Davis, like I said, making his bantamweight debut, looked pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was taking some shots. This Randy Costa guy, watch out for him. He was only 4-0 heading up into this matchup, but his stand-up looks years ahead of where he should be. So I think, you know, give this guy some work. You know, don't push him too fast, and he could be really something in the bantamweight division. But Brandon Davis, probably too early. Mm-hmm. Obviously, and making his debut in a new division, and he went lower, so he didn't, you know, the newer trend is going up a weight class. Well, he went old school and he went down a weight class, and kept his chin, kept his power, and looked pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So, and it was a fun fight to watch. Randy Costa, like I said, his striking looked pretty good. It looked like maybe a kick might have immobilized his leg or not immobilized it, but made it so it was harder for him to move.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's sort of immobilizing it, but not really. I don't fucking know.
I would say hindered the movement.
There you go.
A little bit.
Hindered.
Hindered.
That's a fun word. Right? Well, if you say spoon enough times in a row, it doesn't sound like a word anymore, and like you can't help but fucking laugh. Or I'm just stupid. I have no fucking idea. But I'm spoon. Yeah. Anyway. Your next fight is Poliana Botelho defeating Lauren Mueller. I'm not going to steal Dan Tom's little play he did on that one. It was hilarious. Check out the Protect Your Neck podcast. Shit was great. He does that, I think, like the Thursday night before every fight card for UFC and sometimes Bellator. Fun shit. Anyway, Poliana probably got lucky that Lauren just decided to go to the ground for the last bit of the last round. She was throwing some fucking heat, bro.
Yeah, and it still baffles me that, these fighters that are doing really good in the stand-up game, they'll throw their their hooks, their jabs, they'll get in, then they'll start throwing some heat. Start mixing it up with some leg kicks, trying to pull off some combos, and they're doing great. And then they're like, "Oh well, I'm doing great here. Maybe I'll just take them down." And I think if you're doing well in one certain area, I don't think you should try to take it to another area. You should try to keep the fight where you're most comfortable, to where you'll be able to win the fight.
Bro, look at you. Fucking 2 episodes in and you're already sounding like a fucking pro, my man. That's good shit. Jonathan is greener than a Dos Equis lager when it comes to MMA, but he's starting to turn into an amber right before our very eyes.
I do what I can.
Oh, well, hey, man, you sounding pretty good, bro. I'll cling to that. I know you're drinking the water. I'm still over here drinking beer like a fucking savage. At what time is it? It's fucking like a savage. That's how you know you're fucking old, when fucking 12:15 is late. Anyway, but yeah, it was I just don't understand why fighters, like, especially when they knock somebody down. Like later on in the main card, we had Khalil Rountree do that to Eric Anders. He would knock him down, and then, he'd kick him a little bit, and maybe once or twice he would jump in, but then he's like, nah, fuck this. I'm the fuck out of here. He could grab my fucking toe and twist it the wrong way, and I'm tapping.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm winning this fight. Why the fuck am I gonna play that fucking game? Anyways, but Lauren she's winning on the feet, okay, in this last round. Like we said, she was throwing fire, and she was connecting. And, she knocks Poliana to the ground, and instead of, pursuing the finish via, strikes, making the girl stand up, she jumps in her guard, and, Poliana is able to just hold on till the end of the fight and end up taking a unanimous decision win.
I do like how in the beginning of the fight, Poliana hit Lauren with a nice body kick. And the one that almost folded her in half.
Yeah,
you could tell that she was like, all right, I'm just gonna walk it off, and nope, can't walk it off, but didn't give her a chance to even attempt to walk it off.
Yeah, she was pretty aggressive early on, but I think the corner for Lauren Mueller did a good job of telling her, hey, you gotta fucking go out there and put it all out,
Mm-hmm.
You're down 2-0, so I mean, at that point, I'm telling my fighter, look, if you want this, then you're gonna either go finish them or get finished.
Yeah, go big or go home, right?
I mean, especially when you're down 2-0. I mean, because there's no way even the stupidest judge is gonna give the first 2 rounds to Poliana. So that's just my personal opinion. So, like I said, if it's my fighter, I'm telling you, go for broke. And it kind of seems like that's probably where the advice led, because, like I said, Lauren came like a bat out of hell. In that 3rd round, lots of pressure, and ultimately goofs, and it costs her a win. So we'll see. She's still relatively young in her career, so hopefully this is a learning experience. And next fight, you had Montel Jackson defeating Andre Sukumta. I am pretty sure I might be pronouncing that wrong. I just like saying that. Sukumta.
I think that's about right.
Right? Montel Jackson, dominant. I don't think there's any other way to say it. He was just completely dominant. And I fucking heard the broadcast team saying that Montel Jackson's hands are bigger than Francis Ngannou.
That is fucking ridiculous.
Now, if you don't know who Francis Ngannou is, you should look up this giant, scary man and see how small Montel Jackson is compared to this mountain of a man. Fucking crazy. Anyway, like I said, just completely dominant. Shut him down in every single facet. The striking, the jits, the wrestling. Jackson was just on top of it. So I expect, since he came off of what is it? DWCS is the acronym for it, but I think it's a Dana White's Contender Series. I believe that's where Montel Jackson came from. And Dana White, he's kind of got a soft spot for those guys. So I could see him really, doing big things with Montel Jackson, especially if he just keeps, winning fights.
Mm-hmm.
His weight was on this time, so like I said, I would expect big things on the horizon. In your main UFC Fight Pass prelim, or your UFC Fight Pass prelim main event, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Belal Muhammad defeats Curtis Millender via unanimous decision. I thought early on Curtis was winning, and then right around the second round, he wasn't. I think Belal found his takedown.
Yeah, along with that takedown, I think he also found his striking range. A lot of guys, they find their range a little bit quicker, but sometimes you just need that one round to, I guess, get your jitters out and whatever, and then second round, just stick to your game plan and don't stray from it. And I think that's what he did, and found his range, was able to hit him a couple times, then hit him with a takedown, and then kept going for him.
Yeah, I think Curtis Millender for the 170-pound weight class is probably very hard to train for because he's very tall for the division.
Mm-hmm.
So, and his boxing and kickboxing, his striking overall, it's pretty crisp, but if you're watching him, it's not like traditional. He throws from weird angles. He cuts a lot of angles, and has really good footwork, and he likes to strike from the outside. So he's a long guy, so of course he's going to want to be the rangier fighter. But it definitely, he's now been fully exposed. Dude, fucking take a break, work on your fucking ground game. Just work on your ground game, because he was laying there. He wasn't doing anything. He was just accepting defeat on the bottom. And shame on you, Belal Muhammad. Shame on you for not finishing a man that literally just did not have any answer for anything you gave him. So, and I say shame on you, but congratulations on the fight. It was a fun fight. But you could have finished that, my man. So maybe try to work harder on the finish. I don't know.
He needs to work on his finishes. The other guy needs to work on his ground game.
Seriously. I mean, like I said, it was still a very entertaining fight. It's not like I was like, oh, yawn, this is fucking boring. No. I was still very much, in tune with this fight. I didn't get up and go smoke a cigarette or go grab a beer. I was pretty glued to the set. So, anyway. Now we move on to your ESPN. And this was big ESPN. These are your prelims. Like I said, the first one, we missed. courtesy of yours truly, Steve the Dick. Way to go, Dick.
Living up to your name, huh?
Someone's gotta. Not all of us can be Crazy Jay.
That's right. One and only.
Damn. Anyway, so Khalid Taha defeats Boston Salmon in a mere 25 seconds via TKO.
I wonder how he got the name. Is that like his real name, or?
I believe that is his real name. Oh, are you which one are you talking about, though? Because I mean,
Boston Salmon, of course.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Khalid Taha. Because I mean, really, when you say those two names and you ask me a question like that, you can understand my confusion. But no, I think the dude's legit name is Boston Salmon. Now, I'm not sure if it's like, I don't know, maybe they liked the band Boston, and their last name was Salmon. Now, I'm just trying to be nice here. I could fucking come up with so many funny things to say about the name Boston Salmon, but
family of fishermen, I guess.
I like the kid, so I'm not going to go down that road. Yeah. And plus, he just got crushed in 25 seconds apparently. Like I said, the replay, it looked like the stoppage could have been premature, but again, refs have the hardest fucking job in the business. They got to be in there and they got to make the right call, because if they make the wrong call, then fuck you, ref, you're a piece of shit. And 9 times out of 10, I can agree with that. Some refs got no business being in there.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I only caught a replay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Max Griffin defeats the cheat. Zelim Imadiev. Right? Imadiev?
Yep.
We're going to roll with that. Anyways, you cage-grabbing son of a gun.
And speaking of referees, I forgot his name, but was it Greg something?
Allen?
Greg Allen. Kudos to you, my man.
If that's his name, I hope we're getting that right.
Yeah.
But this man sees the cage getting grabbed, and gives him one warning. He does give him a warning. He says, "Hey man, get your hands out the cage." Dude fucking does it again in the same sequence. So it's not like he did it once and then a couple minutes later he did it again. No, this was in the same fucking sequence. Right after being told, don't grab the fence, ref takes a point. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think we may have applauded. Did we applaud?
I think we may have applauded, said, fuck you, and I hope you lose. At least that's what I said.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not down with people blatantly cheating. So, yeah, kudos to you, Max Griffin. You took out a cheater and you didn't need to cheat. Fun fight. It was a majority decision. I thought Max had probably done enough to win it, but who the fuck am I? And we'll go ahead and leave it at that. But good reffing to a good fight. It's not that it was a bad fight. It was just we got a lot to cover, and I'm just trying to blaze through it. Bear with me here. Alexandre Pantoja, I think I'm saying that right. Alexandre Pantoja defeats Wilson Hayes via TKO in round 1, a little under 3 minutes. Bro, when flyweights are getting knockouts, I think they're trying to keep the division alive.
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually, with the flyweight division and the state that it's in, with Dana White really not committing to any stance on whether he's going to keep it around or whether he's going to get rid of it. All indications, in my opinion, are pointing to the new flyweight champ, Henry Cejudo, moving up to bantamweight to fight for the vacant bantamweight title. That tells me that flyweight's probably done.
Think so.
So I hope not. I love the division. I always root for the little guys because I'm a little guy, and some of these guys are like my size, but I outweigh them by almost twice. So I could hit 125 if I really wanted to, though. Trust. I think I could get down. I got down to 132 or 133 for my last one. But that was like, years and not broken bones ago. So, anyways, with the flyweight division, it seems that a loser leaves town type of deal. So, hopefully Wilson doesn't get, or Wilson. I'm not really sure how they pronounce the W, but I hope Hayes doesn't get cut. I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think he's a good gatekeeper type fighter for that division if you keep it around. Basically, if you can get past him, you're going to be something in that division. You can't get past him, then you need some fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been a pretty durable guy, but he is getting up there in age. And with the little guys, they're not like heavyweights. Heavyweights can fight until they're like 40. Little guys, pretty much like 35 is like the cap. And I think Hayes is 34. And he's had a long career. So we'll just have to see what happens. So fingers crossed he doesn't get cut. But Pantoja looked fucking awesome. I don't know. Did you watch that Ultimate Fighter? The one with Pantoja?
No, I think that might have been around the time that I kind of stopped watching, maybe.
Okay, well, they did the Ultimate Fighter and Pantoja. He was either like the runner-up or the winner. I'm not even really sure. That's how much I remember it. But actually, I was really into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did nothing but champions from around the world in the 125-pound weight class. And the winner, I think you might have been the runner-up. Because the winner, which was Tim Elliott, the winner got to fight Mighty Mouse. And they were coached by Henry Cejudo and Joseph Benavidez. It was a fun house, especially if you like the flyweights, which I do. So
yeah, it sounds like it would have been a really fun house to watch.
Yeah, so Pantoja was on that house. So I've been watching that guy. I think he was in RFA or LFA. I'm not really sure. I think it was long enough ago that it was probably the RFA. But I've been covering him since the regional circuit, if you will. Matt Frivola, Steamroller, defeats, Tarantula?
Yep.
We did not do that for any of those other ones, so I feel so bad because we are going to try and include these guys' nicknames just because it's something I thoroughly enjoy because some of them are funny and some of them are kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt Steamroller Frivola defeats Jalen Turner via unanimous decision, or as my buddy Liam called him, Big Face. Kind of one of those things you'd have to be there to understand what we're talking about. But Big Face gets a win. Jalen Turner's freaking huge for the division. I don't know how he makes 155 because he's freaking tall. I mean, I get why he calls himself the Tarantula because his limbs are freaking huge.
Hell yeah.
So, good fight overall. I don't know that he wins every single round that dominantly. 30-27 all around is what I'm reading here. So, yeah. I saw him struggle quite a bit with the range, and
mm-hmm.
he had to get in there and work his wrestling, and there was submissions on both sides that looked like they could have been fight enders.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, very back and forth on the ground.
Now again, this is another one of Dana White's boys. Now, and I don't mean this in a bad way. But I'm saying Dana White, his tough one, he's got a soft spot for. And it seems like his Dana White's Contender Series peoples, really? Oh shit, I forgot to turn that off. I'll do that right now as I'm fucking spouting some bullshit. The Dana White's Contender Series and the Ultimate Fighter ones, blah blah blah. He takes care of them, and it's an IOU type thing. not like an IOU, but like I got you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. So, yeah. I mean, frivola. Yeah, so again, I would expect the UFC to do something nice for him since he came out on top. Nikita Krylov, for those of you who don't know that I call him Nikki. And no, I've never met Nikita Krylov to ask him if it was okay that I called him Nikki. But fight me, bro. I'm gonna call you Nikki. I can get up to 205. I think I could do it. It would be a lot of cake.
I know I wouldn't be able to. I'd have to not eat a lot of cake.
I just don't see that happening, bruv.
Nope, not after today.
Right? I know, you ate more cake than everybody. That was a big slice.
That was. It was so delicious. It was worth it.
Worth it! I'll just hit the gym extra hard 2 weeks from now.
Nope, I'll be hitting that bad boy hard on Monday.
Oh shit, watch out! Anyways, I kind of wish there's a book series that I almost kind of read, and it's the Heat Wave novels by Richard Castle. Yeah, I wish Nicky would. I wish his nickname was Heat instead of the Miner.
Mm.
OSP. They fought once before. OSP submitted Nicky Heat in their first meeting, and this time around, Heat gets OSP in the rear naked choke. Forces him to tap. 230 round 2. They could do what do you call that? Third one?
Trilogy?
Trilogy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The third one. Gee, I don't know. It starts with T, you moron. The Trinidad?
The Trinidad?
The trifecta. They want to go for the trifecta. So yeah, there's that option there. OSP is a pretty active guy. So,
hey, sorry about that.
Hey, take it easy, buddy.
I'm getting excited, man. This was a really fun card to talk about, man.
Anyways, like I said, they could do the trifecta, thrice, triple sonogram, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. What trilogy? I already forgot. They could do that. Both active guys, both semi-relative to the division. So we'll see what the UFC wants to do with that. Like I said, OSP could get another couple wins and be right back in the trilogy range with Nicky, depending on how his career goes. Because this is not his first stint in the UFC. This is his second stint. He left for like a Russian organization for a couple years. So I think he went undefeated too. So yeah, and what I feel, it wasn't like a robbery because it was a close fight, but I don't agree with these scorecards. Dwight Grant takes a split decision from Alan Jouban. I had Alan Jouban winning the fight, so I would love to know what everybody else's opinions were. This was probably it was a technical. This was a chess match. This was not a barn burner like your next 3 fights, right? So this fight didn't get a lot of love, but the decision, I give it even less love, dude.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And like I said, it's not a robbery. I just don't agree with it. What do you think? How did you score the fight?
I had it Alan the Brahma Jouban. I had him 2 rounds to 1. I think he did a little bit more the third round. The first round, I believe I gave it to Dwight, the body snatcher, because he was hitting him with some heavy strikes. He was working his combos and stuff like that. But I think that second round is when Javon went for the takedown. He was moving a little bit better, working him on the ground a little bit. And then I think the third round is when my daughter bugged me. So I didn't really get too much, at the beginning of the round of round 3. But the rest of the round that I did see, Joban was just, to me, he looked like he was kind of not dominating, but he was getting with it in the third round, and that's why I gave him the third one. That's why I gave him 2-1.
Okay, well, Joban's pressure is kind of what sold me on this thing. I'd love to see the numbers, the fight statistics, how much he threw, how much he landed. But really the story of this fight, in my opinion, is the pace, the pressure, the cage control from Alan Jouban. Dwight Grant was walking backwards probably 9/10 of the fight, and he wasn't being as effective of a counter striker as he probably could have been. So, I don't know. Just in my opinion, I don't think it was... I think the striking and the grappling pretty much nullified each other. So you have to move on to aggression and cage control, or as they call it, octagon control. It's their cage. They can call it whatever the fuck they want. But you got to move on to the next two. And again, there you go. I mean, Jouban, he was coming forward almost the entire fight, if not the entire fight. So I'd have to go back and rewatch this one, and I think I'm going to without the... Here, let me make a little note right here. Maybe I should start like a little fucking note thing where... Oh, let me borrow your pen. You got a pen?
Yeah, no.
I got a pen.
Right in front of you, right there.
Yeah, I got a pen. Okay, so... Jouban versus Grant. What I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to fucking rewatch this fight. Oh shit, my bad, guys. I'm going to rewatch this fight without the commentary. With no noise, with no nothing. And I'm going to see how I score the fight that way. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll let you guys know how that goes. Episode 3, when we run that one next week. So, moving on. And what was probably the most one-sided fight on the entire card. Oh no, that's not true, because Montel was pretty one-sided there. But this was just ouch, bro. Khalil Rountree defeats Eric Anders via unanimous decision, 30-26 all around. Holy fuck. Dude, did you see his leg?
Dude, I want to see what the inside of his leg looks like.
You can almost see it. You can almost see it.
That was ridiculous.
It looked like ground beef.
And then on top of that, he knocked Eric Anders down, like 4 or 5 times? Anders is one tough motherfucker, dude. Damn.
I want to know what his head is made out of, so I can put that all around my house. So when the asteroid comes that's gonna fucking kill us all, I'll be safe. Because I'll just have a bunch of Eric Anders heads around my house. Wouldn't that be creepy?
Just drive by your house and there's a bunch of fucking heads everywhere.
Oh, God.
Excuse me.
Oh, we're getting wild here on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Watch out. You never know what you're going to run into over here. It just could be a bunch of Eric Anders heads. Who the fuck knows? Anyways, your boy didn't have an answer. He was stuck. Had a good round 3 for losing it, but I mean, Khalil literally after his last fight, he gets knocked out by Johnny Walker. He got slept. He was stiff. I thought he was dead, right? So Johnny Walker knocks him out in the clinch. So he's like, fuck, my clinch work sucks. I'm going to go move to Thailand. And so he did. And then he comes out looking like a fucking Thai fighter in the fucking traditional Thai stance, fucking whoop, 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 right, with his fucking leg. And dude, he fucking looked awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I like Khalil Rountree. I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter where he got lots of opportunities, and I could see why he got all the opportunities that he did. The dude's, when he's on, it's amazing. It's a lot of fun to watch. So I'm glad that he's, kind of taking care of areas that maybe he wasn't so great at.
Yeah, what I saw was, he was super fast, like with his strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Leg kicks, they were short, quick, powerful, to the point. God, every time he threw a kick and it landed, you could hear it. My knee felt it. I was already tapping before anything happened, so I can't imagine how Anders felt having to, endure that for how long? 15 minutes?
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't like a main event or a championship fight, because your boy probably wouldn't be walking for much longer than a couple weeks. Anyways, that's, a hell of a chin and a hell of a leg, Mr. Anders. So heal up nicely. Khalil, enjoy your win. Well deserved. I'm glad, like you said, glad you got out to Thailand and shored some things up. It really showed in this fight. Really showed. So maybe try and do that with, your wrestling and your jiu-jitsu and shit, dude. You might be unstoppable, bro. In the co-main event, now, we could literally sit here for hours and talk about these two fights. But since we have those interviews at the end of the episode, let's try our best to keep it short. I mean, I don't give a fuck if we go over or not, because we don't really have a time limit, because we're not little sissy girls.
That's
but
right.
At the same time, I don't want you guys to be like, well, hurry the fuck up and get to Pat Miletich and Amanda Bobby Cooper. Look, I get it. I get it. If you want to skip to the end of that, I mean, hey, it's cool. But you're going to miss all the fun shit that we're going to say, so don't do it. See what I did there? I got you. Hook, line, and sinker. Co-main event, UFC 236. Israel Adesanya defeats Kevin Gastelum to win the interim middleweight title. It was a unanimous decision. I had it two apiece going into the 5th round. And Adesanya literally says, fuck no, bro. I'm going to take that belt home with me. Now, that was not his accent. That's my accent for him, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't even know where the fuck that came from. But yeah, no, he told Kevin Gastelum, you're not taking my shit. And he didn't. It was an insane 5-round war. Yeah.
Both fighters, they were hitting really hard. Kelvin had that pretty sweet uppercut. He was throwing left hooks. Adesanya was throwing his own kicks. He was throwing some spinning elbows.
Caught him with one of those. He caught him with one of those.
Yeah, he really bad. Well, really good. I don't even fucking know. I'm talking out of my ass now. But he got him really good. There we go, with the spinning elbow. I think what really won in the fight, I'd say, when they do the little clicks there for the 10 seconds for the end of the round, he had that last minute flurry and just let it all out, and I think that's what kind of maybe won it for him.
Yeah, they literally could have stopped this fight a couple times up to the end of the 5th round. For those of you who maybe didn't watch it or don't remember, Israel Adesanya was, pretty much winning the round on round 5, and he connected with a very significant strike towards the end of the round. And pretty much took over from there, and he put a beating on Kelvin. And, Kelvin's tough, man.
Yeah.
Tough as they come. So, yeah, I don't know how he was staying alive, because lesser men would have died. They'd be dead. D-E-D, dead.
Oh, and real quick before we get to our last fight.
Dog. I was gonna say the winner of this fight.
Oh, who do you
gets
think?
to face Robert Whittaker.
Ooh,
They gotta unify that title, baby. Now
that's gonna be a good fight.
Oh yeah. Israel Adesanya moved to I think like 17-0. So the dude's undefeated in MMA, and he's going up against Robert Whittaker. Bruv, you want to see a cool fight? You gotta wait. You gotta wait till they announce that one. I don't know, but I'm super stoked. I think both fights that get made after this card are gonna be pretty fucking phenomenal. So long as Khabib doesn't just dry hump Dustin. I think if it's more of a mixed martial arts affair, like a mixture, not just wrestling, then I think that could be a very fun fight. But yeah, so what were you gonna say before I rudely cut you off?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Rich Franklin for being a Hall of Famer.
That just happened. Rich Franklin is going to be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in the Pioneer Wing. This was news to me when Jonathan told me about it. Because this crazy Jay was in here paying attention while I was out taking 7 minutes off my life. So I had no idea. And then I'm looking at, the news and stories, and I'm like, dude, they usually announce something during the fights. And I'm like, we've been sitting here watching it the whole time. And, hello, you idiot, you take so many breaks in between the fights, you probably miss all the fucking important shit in between. So I did. I missed it. I apologize, Mr. Franklin. Congratulations. Kudos to Crazy J for keeping it real.
Yeah, and the promo that they did for
there was a promo?
Yeah, there was a.
Oh man, I missed the promo.
Yeah, like they did for Bisping. They did a little promo for Franklin too. Yeah, that was a really good piece.
Was his as good as Bisping's? Because Bisping's, dude, that'll bring a tear to your face.
No, Franklin's won't make you cry.
No.
But it'll make you go, holy fucking shit.
Nah, Rich was the man back in the day. And he's over doing his thing over at 1FC. So, which we're actually going to try and fucking, get more in tune with that organization. Because Crazy J over here may have figured something out that's going to benefit the podcast as far as 1FC is concerned. So stay tuned if you are into that organization.
Excuse me.
That sounded very labored.
I'm starting to get a little bit older.
You don't talk to me about old young man. Anyways, enough bullshit. In your main event, it had... Well, okay, so like most of the main card had our entire fucking house screaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time Khalil would throw a fucking kick, anytime Israel or Kelvin would land anything, he was like, fuck! Oh, shit! Oh, how is he still standing? But in the main event, some of the ladies were particularly interested because they find a certain Lafayette resident, or Louisiana, wherever he is from, they find this man rather handsome. So the ladies were particularly interested. And it wasn't Max Holloway. Because Max, you're a badass fighter, but you're a goofy looking dude. Right? That basically made it sound like I think Poirier's hot and I think Max Holloway's ugly. And they're both dudes. So I need to get my priorities straight over here. Anyway, yeah, sorry, my lovely wife couldn't be here. She was too busy staring at Dustin.
Yeah. Staring at him, eating all of his crawfish and shit.
Yeah, he's a foodie. Anyway, Dustin Poirier finally gets his hands on some UFC gold. And again, See, because I am technically not like legitimate media. We're not technical legit media, so we're allowed to have fucking favorites, and we can do whatever the fuck we want. Now, I like Max Holloway, I like Dustin Poirier, but I like Poirier more, so I wanted him to win.
Mm-hmm.
Holloway's already got a belt. He can go back down and defend that one. He don't need 2 belts. He can share. Well, Poirier didn't give him an option. He won. So, long storied, quest to that belt. He didn't do the Conor McGregor thing, and he said it on the broadcast. But when you really think about Dustin Poirier's career, yeah, he's asked for title shots, but he's never taken jabs or poked fun of somebody just to get to that spot. So it was just kind of refreshing to see that championship fighter finally get his belt without any strings attached, really.
Mm-hmm.
He went through a murderer's row of fucking former champions. You had Pettis, you had Gaethje, you had Alvarez. I mean, that's a fucking 3-piece and a soda can.
Mm-hmm.
Since everybody's using that. Should I be hashtag Jorge Masvidal or something? Should I? He gets credit for that. I'm not saying I came up with that. That's
maybe
hashtag
bullshit. I don't know.
What is it? Game Bread? At Game Bread? However the Twitterverse works.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, no, dude. For really though. It was awesome. It was an awesome fight from start to fucking finish. I honestly thought Dustin blew his gas tank early, and you know what? He probably did. But his not dying, but his desire to get the belt meant more to him than air in his fucking lungs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the dude just bit down on the mouthpiece for the next 4 fucking rounds.
Yeah.
Because it was clear. It was very clear after the first round that he did not have another round like that in him.
Yeah, he threw everything he had in that first round.
Like I said, incredible fucking fight. Both of these main and co-main events were fucking phenomenal. They were wars. They are going to go down in history as some of the best title fights. Fucking good night of fights. I really can't say enough. But yeah, we've been going on for almost 50 minutes here, and we got 2 interviews that we want you guys to check out. So we're going to go ahead and play them, and I'll just do them back to back. No bullshit in between, and just that way you guys can have a little enjoyment where you don't have to hear me talk because, my voice is so lovely, right? Right, Jonathan?
It's so lovely.
Yeah, see? He agrees with me. How dare you?
I just want to keep my job, bro.
Anyway, so, you'll have our interview with Pat Miletich. In the first 5 or 6 minutes, I was having some technical difficulties. So that's my bad. I did the best I could to kind of fix it, but it is kind of annoying. So if you got to skip to 5 minutes, then you'll probably be good. And then the Amanda Bobby Cooper interview, it's pretty dope. So stick around for that as well. Anyways, so I'll go ahead and say peace right here, and see you next week. I mean, that's episode 2 in the bag.
Thanks for listening, guys. Also, check us out on our social media pages. Twitter at HeadKick Audio, Instagram at HeadKick Audio, Facebook HeadKick Audio.
We on all that shit, bro.
We on everything.
Tell them about the radio show.
We also have a radio show. It airs on Tuesdays. 7 to 9
Mountain Standard Time. That's Mountain Standard Time.
7 to 9 Mountain Standard Time, or would it be Arizona time? Because Arizona don't give a fuck about time zones.
Fuck your time.
But yeah, we got a radio show, 7 to 9, Cranium Radio. I forgot what the name of our own fucking radio show is.
It is called. It's a metal. So if you listen to like that heavier stuff, this might be right up your alley. But it's called. What is it? Dick and Jay's.
Yeah,
Metal Corner. It's kind of a play on words. If you saw it spelt out, it would be a lot funnier. Because when you just say metal corner, it just sounds corny. I mean, it's corny to fucking begin with, but... Anyways, yeah, check us out on our radio show. That's Tuesdays, 7 to 9 Mountain Standard Time, or like he said, Arizona time. Follow, we go on right after Walter's Wall of Woe on Cranium Radio. And that's just craniumradio.com. That's how you can listen to us. And we kind of do the same thing we do here. We just bullshit. I mean, it's nothing too serious. We try not to take anything too seriously, obviously. But yeah, so check that out. And again, social media, at HeadKick Audio, at HeadKick Audio, HeadKick Audio. Do you want to say it again? HeadKick Audio. It's such a cool name. It's so much better than Metal Corner.
HeadKick Audio.
That way... we already have the connection established and the recording, and I double checked it before I went on, just to make sure, and everything was working well.
Cool. Am I coming in pretty clear?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So remember, just try and speak up a little bit.
Better write this out or else I'm gonna fucking just say KO.
You ready?
Let's do it to it.
Alright, I'm gonna put her on. Oh, what just happened? Oh, the flower. Okay. A-M-A Amanda Cooper. Oh, wow, that's loud.
Hello.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, let me go ahead and get my co-host in here, and then we can go ahead and start the call.
Sounds good.
Alright, thank you. Hold on 1 second.
Please enter your password, then press pound.
Alright.
Please enter your password, then press pound.
Can you guys hear that lady?
I can.
Okay, yeah, so can I. I don't know what's
Please enter your password, then press pound.
Let me enter your password.
You have 5 saved voice messages. To listen to your messages, press 1. To send a message, press 2. To change your personal options, press 4. To disconnect, press star.
Okay, I'm gonna press star, and if it hangs up, I'll just call everybody back.
Okay.
And I apologize.
To listen to your messages, thank you and goodbye.
So like just and if she hated me.
Okay, it didn't disconnect from anybody. Is everybody still there?
I'm here. I can't hear anyone but you, so I don't know if that's normal.
Alright, Jonathan, are you there? Jonathan? Alright, I will take that as a no. Let me see if I can get him back on. I'll call you right back. Alright, I apologize.
Hey, no problem.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Hello?
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna try it backwards. Usually I have him and then I bring in the caller, so give me a second.
Okay.
Please enjoy this Verizon ringback tone while your party is reached.
Alright, I'm gonna try this again, going this way. Okay, Jonathan, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Amanda, are you there?
Yes.
All right, now that we got that out of the way.
Part of me wanted to not answer so I could hear you guys like freak out about it. I was like, I should probably just answer.
All right, well, I'll make sure I don't edit that out so we can look like dummies.
I like it, yes.
All right, Amanda, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just got home from the gym. It was perfect timing, actually.
Perfect. I'm glad that worked out. So thank you for taking the time to get with us knuckleheads at HeadKick Audio. We're a baby podcast is what I like to call it because, you know, we're not even into the teenage years. We just started, actually last week was our first show. We were supposed to have Pat Miletich on and Drew Dober, but Pat had to reschedule because I jacked up the time zones. So, but we still had Drew Dober on, and it was a fun show. And then this weekend, with there being no MMA, I kind of loaded it up with a bunch of interviews. So we got with Pat, and we were able to have him on, so he'll be on this show. And I got with Dan Tom from MMA Junkie, so he's going to be on. That was a really pleasant interview, and now we got you, so I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a good show.
Perfect. Cool.
Okay, well, I'm going to kind of do what I did last time, and I'm going to start with the co-host, Jonathan. We call him Crazy Jay. I'm going to let him start off with the question, so Jay, take it away.
Cool, thanks. Hi, how's it going? Thanks for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. I know you're a very, very busy lady.
Nah, no problem.
I'd just like to get straight to the point. My first question I got for you is you have a knockout and a submission victory. Which is your preferred method of winning the fight?
It's tough. I always think, with a submission victory, you're getting it while you're getting it. You're working for it, you're getting through it, you keep on it, you're steady. With a knockout, you know what I mean, it's just right time, right pace, right punch, right power. So they're so different, but I obviously love both of them. But a knockout just is great because you don't know it's coming. You're not like loading up on it and trying as hard. You're striking, you're doing things, and and it's an unexpected victory, so it's great.
I got you. So do you ever train just to get that knockout, or do you pace yourself and train yourself to go the distance?
I do both. A lot when I'm training with one of my striking coach. He trains, for my opponent, like what head movements I need to work. He likes to, study tape a lot and figure out what shots they're susceptible to. He's good at seeing what my opponent is making mistakes in, utilizing my strengths into their weaknesses. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not training like, this is the shot, this is the shot. Everything goes together. But, yeah, we're definitely training, like, what shots work the best, what, set up. So, always wanting the knockout, but definitely need to go the distance.
Gotcha. My second question I got for you is the fight between you and Ashley Yoder was really close. Do you feel like you did enough to get the decision?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was close. When you're in the fight, it's kind of hard to tell. You're like, there's some bad things, there were some good things. Like, what did the judges see? Was the crowd go? But I felt like after, my coaches, all of them were like, you won that fight. Like, one of my coaches in particular, like, he's pretty harsh, and I kind of look to him to see what he thinks, because he's, I think, the most realistic about fights. And I remember looking at him and been like, did I do it? And he's like, you won the fight, don't worry, you got this. And I just felt relaxed. I'm like, okay, sweet, I did it. And then I went over and said good job to her coaches, and they said congratulations to me. So I was like, oh, cool, I won this fight, and then, yeah, definitely when they called her name, I was shocked. I haven't watched it a ton of times, but I have watched it again a few times, and I was like, I still feel like I won. I feel like I was the one that did well. It's hard with judges. Sometimes she would pull her legs across my face and squeeze, and it's not a submission. Not even maybe they were uneducated. Maybe they didn't understand the way it was. But it is what it is. She did great.
If I can interject here just 1 second, I would like to ask you now, when you said you were talking to her coaches and her corners, and you said they were congratulating you, do you think that they thought their fighter lost?
Well, I mean, typically you don't congratulate someone that you thought lost. So I thought that, and, you know, maybe they were congratulations on a great fight. Maybe they said that to my coach, like, because my coach and I were there together. I don't know what the congratulations were, but when I heard it at that time, at that moment, I thought it was for me. Like, I had won the fight. Like, he thought, well, it's, you know, and they were, you know, kind of, they weren't smiling. They were like, when they talked to us, you know, very serious, like, congratulations. And I was like, oh, sweet. You know, I got this. I won. But who knows? It could have been like, congratulations on a good fight. Congratulations, coach. I'm not really sure what it was said for, but, you know, it threw me off definitely even more after they called her for winning.
And would you want that one back? I'm sorry, John, but Amanda, would you want that one back?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think anytime anyone loses at any time in their career, whether it's amateur or pro or what, they want that. They want to avenge their loss, you know. But if, you know, if it were the other way around and I won and she wanted to fight, I'd be like, nope, sorry, I already passed that. I already on to the next one. So, yeah, of course, I think anytime you lose, like, I still want to go back to my amateur people and fight them and beat them. So, you definitely always want to avenge your loss. And it was a close enough fight that I'm like, man, if I had just changed something, if I would have done something, if I would have realized, you know, I could have been better. But obviously, she would have probably think the same thing. Oh, she could have done better here, done that. So, yeah, if roles were reversed, I'd be like, no thanks, I'm good.
All right, I'm done hijacking, John. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all good, dude. It's all good. We're a team, man. For my third and final question I got for you, I know you're relatively short for the division.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered 25?
Yeah, actually, I'm hoping to fight my next contract at 125. I can make the weight, and I've never had a problem making it at 115. It just keeps getting a little bit harder and a little bit harder, and probably the more I've done it and the more, you know, older I get, it's just my fiance really hates me watching me cut weight too. He just knows that it's dangerous, and you can see me really, I would never stop myself in a bath. I would always keep going. So he's, you know, he hates watching it. So we've talked to him, just kind of think that maybe 125 is the best for now on.
Gotcha. Well, I really do appreciate you taking the time out and talking to us. I know I probably beat that to death, but I mean, with you guys, with you fighters, I mean, you guys are always, you know, so super busy, and I'm very, very appreciative of you guys, you know, taking the time out and talking with us. So at this time, I'm gonna shoot it back over to the host, Steve.
All right.
Dick. You got it.
All right, thank you.
All right, now, Amanda, you said your next contract. Now, I went to the official UFC website, and you're still listed as a fighter. Now, did you fight out your contract, and you're currently working on another one, or are you not allowed to talk about what's going on behind the scenes?
No, I fought out of it. I've already had my 6 fights, so I'm gonna have to fight outside of the UFC.
Okay, now, and is the goal to fight your way back into the organization, or are you just going to kind of test your waters outside of the UFC?
Yeah, I'm kind of you know, I started in the UFC as a 1-on-1 pro. You know, I got in the Ultimate Fighter House, I was a finalist, and just kind of felt like, you know, I had to do most of my, like, growing up as a fighter in the hardest organization in the world. Each fight was, like, the toughest fight ever, and I never really got to experience anything else or do anything else. So, yeah, I would love to get back into the UFC, and that's the goal, that's the pinnacle, but I'm kind of excited to, you know, fight at other organizations and see what things have to offer, and the level not to be, you know, I mean, obviously it's all going to be tough, but I'm excited to see the different levels of girls that I'll be facing now, and just what other promotions are bringing.
Okay, and do you have a promotion in mind?
You know, I had a fight offer from Combate and Invicta, but I'm getting married in June, and they wanted me to fight in the middle of May, and I just think it was too close to the wedding. I got a lot of stuff going on with the wedding, so I declined both of those due to the wedding, and just said after my wedding, I'll get back to booking a fight.
Well, I think you had it right. The wedding is a fight, you know? me and John have both been there, so we understand that. and you know, you were talking about The Ultimate Fighter, and you know, you did a lot of growing up in the house, and you know, early in your career in the UFC. Now, if you got an opportunity to say go back into The Ultimate Fighter, or if you had to do it all over again, would you do it again? And if you would, what would you do different?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't do it again right now. I mean, going back, like, yeah, I would say that I'd do it all over. I don't know how to explain, because you asked two questions. I wouldn't do it again, that's first. I wouldn't do it again, but I'm glad I did it, for sure. So I wouldn't take that away, because I did learn a lot, I did a lot, and I had to train a lot by myself and figure out, you know, kind of who I was as a fighter and stuff. So I think the Ultimate Fighter House did really well for my career, but I definitely wouldn't do it again. Kind of just, you know, past that, and you know, it was like kind of a once, you know, you learned all you could learn, you did what you know did. It was tough mentally, it was tough physically, you had to cut weight so many times. I probably wouldn't do it again ever, but I'm glad I did it. Okay,
and if you could go back, what would you do differently?
If I could go back, what would I do differently? I think it wasn't really, I don't think I did anything wrong in the house. You know, I was very focused. I was a finalist on it. I think just the time before my last fight, we had like 3 or 4 months. I think we had 4 months. And I remember, you know, my finalist fight being 4 months away, and knowing that Tatiana was like awesome. You know, I'm like, Tatiana's really good. I really got to work. I got to get 4 months, and I have to work. And I brought girls in to work with me, and I trained that whole 4 months like it was a fight camp, like 3 times a day, as hard as possible, because I knew I had to make up for lost time with her credentials being so high in wrestling and grappling. And I just really burnt myself out horribly. Like 2 months into it, I was so exhausted, I couldn't even get up. And, you know, just really for 4 months, I just did too much, I think. And that was what I would do differently, is kind of, and I've had to do that now, is really set time that these are my perfect, you know, 13 weeks. Going 4 months is just too hard on the body and the mind.
Well, overtraining is a real thing, and then you got to factor in the weight cut. So
right,
it's a lot for fighters, and I'm not saying that, you know, some can't do it, and you know, it sounds like you have. So, and congratulations on the wedding, by the way.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
So a lot of fighters are so focused on their career in the current, you know. Have you been thinking about, you know, what you're gonna do after your fight career is over?
Yeah, I think every fighter kind of worries about that. What are they going to do? Are they, you know, go back to whatever they got to do, school, teach? Well, right now I'm doing, I do like personal training on the side, and like group fitness, like strength and conditioning classes. I do that, you know, just to keep busy, and actually I can get a workout in it as well, so it's quite nice. But, you know, I really like that. I think anything I'm doing, I'm going to want to coach and be in the gym. And obviously I'm getting married in June, and, you know, have a family one day, and you know, that will be my other passion. But I'll always, you know, be somewhere in the gym, somewhere doing something. I believe that there's nothing I can think of. You know, I think even like communicate, you know, kind of learning more about communications, and you know, maybe announcing or commentating or something locally, non-local. I don't know. I just want to be somewhere in the game.
Okay, so you want to stay connected to the sport.
Yes.
Okay, now, don't take this the wrong way, okay, but you're a very attractive woman. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about maybe modeling or acting or something in that realm?
Yeah, I think I definitely love, you know, being, you know, somebody and in the spotlight, and I thrive in that spot. I think that's why I did really well on the show. Is just I wanted the, you know, the cameras on me, I wanted the attention, I wanted that. So definitely a route I would be interested in. It's just if, you know, the right doors open or whatnot, I would take it and, you know, see where it goes.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't want to, you know, push any boundaries or whatever, but thank you for answering.
No problem.
Try not to sound like a bunch of creeps over here.
Well, at least you warned me before.
Right? Okay, well, look, your resume speaks for itself. All of your losses, you know, were either against killers or it was a really close split decision loss. I'm kind of a bigger fan of yours than Ashley's, so I may have been a little biased, but I still think, if I'm putting on my judging hat, you win the fight, whether I like you or not. So I do feel that you edged out a decision there. And, going forward with your career, I wish you nothing but the best. And maybe when you sign your next contract, obviously after you guys get hitched, maybe we can have you on the show again and, we can pump up your next fight.
Yeah, that would be great. Yep.
Okay, so again, I really appreciate the time. This is Amanda Cooper, ABC Nation. Is that your Twitter handle?
Yep, ABC Nation 115.
Okay.
Maybe I need to change it.
No. It's we're very, very scatterbrained on the show, so we got a lot going on. But is there any sponsors, training partners, coaches, anybody you want to plug, give a shout out to? Go ahead.
No, not right now. I'll probably do more of that when I got a fight coming up and it's on my mind. Got more sponsors and stuff. But for now, thank you guys for having me on the show.
All right. Well, you have yourself a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
How's that?
That's a little bit better.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll have to make do because I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No problem.
All right. Let me bring in the co-host.
Okay.
Oh, hey, I can hear you perfect now. All right. Cool.
All right.
Let me bring him in.
Okay.
Okay, Jonathan, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Pat Miletich, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Everybody can hear each other. How's everybody doing?
Good. Thank you.
All right. So, Pat Miletich, UFC Hall of Famer, welterweight champion, broadcaster, podcaster. I don't know. Are you a politician yet?
No, I haven't sold my soul yet.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you taking the time in your busy schedule to get on this call with us. It means a lot to us.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Okay, and before we get into any MMA or any broadcasting or combat sports, I wanted to talk about your podcast, The Conspiracy Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did you get the idea to do a podcast like the one you guys are doing, and where did you guys get the name?
Well, I mean, where I got the idea, to be honest with you, I mean, I've always been somebody who has kind of paid attention to the news, and, around when we went to Iraq the first time, and the second time, I was kind of I was on board with it, I was like, those damn terrorists, this and that, but something didn't sit right. There was something, and I had a lot of good friends who were, more left-leaning, of course, and they were like, man, we're going to war for oil and this and that, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And, the more it sat with me, it didn't sit well, and, the more I dug into it, the more I learned, about Cheney's company and the oil, and it's really not even about that, though. It's when you dig deep, on that subject matter alone, in the Middle East, Saddam Hussein was taken out because he was going to start taking euros for oil. Gaddafi was taken out because he was creating the dinar, which is a gold coin, which would be the monetary system over in Libya and North Africa, basically. So he was going against the petrodollar, the American dollar that was supported by the oil, from Saudi Arabia. That agreement that we had to protect Saudi oil fields from attack, as long as everybody had to buy their oil with American dollars, which of course made us very powerful. So that's all good for the American quality of life, but to me, it was things like that, and there are numerous other things that I was just becoming very aware of that didn't make sense to me. And,
And also, I still remember the day when I was 6 years old, standing in line in Albia, Iowa for the Farmers National Bank, the rush on the banks in the Midwest for all the farmers when Nixon took us off the gold standard and put us on the petrodollar. That's when the farm collapse happened. And I remember standing in line with my grandma and my mom in Albia, Iowa, with farmers, families of farmers for blocks and blocks and blocks in that small Midwest town. People rushed in the bank to try and get their cash out in time, and we were one of the few that actually did. And so that sort of thing has always kind of stuck with me. And what I decided to do is that as I paid attention to the news more and more and more over the years, I did research and found out that they were full of shit. I've trained a lot of military and a lot of law enforcement. I'm friends with a lot of intelligence people, former intelligence people, people who are very high up in that world of intelligence and the agencies and different things like that. And the more I spoke with them, the more I learned the truth and decided, you know what, I'm tired of the news lying to everybody, and I'm gonna go ahead and start talking to the people that know the truth and having them on my show. And some of them won't come on my show because they want to remain anonymous, of course, and decided that I was going to start spreading what I saw as the truth. And that's kind of how it got started. And I made up I live in Iowa, farm life, all that sort of stuff. And I decided call it the Conspiracy Farm and created the tagline. We don't start the conspiracies. We just add the water. So.
Well, I dig it, and I've actually gotten into a couple episodes, and I'm starting to be a little bit more open-minded and see some of these things for what they really are. So I think you and your show does a really good job of explaining things and bringing stuff to light that maybe people want to ignore or just not get into.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people, everybody's so dang busy that they don't have time to research this stuff. They get their sound bites from the news, and just that's the end of the truth to them. And people look at the television set and consider the people on their television set people with authority and people with knowledge. And these people they literally are just talking heads. They're fed these lines. They're paid a lot of money, and they're told to do their job, and they're certainly not going to go against it. And it's all orchestrated. I mean, we go back and give examples of media lies and government lies, as far back, World War I, World War II. We talk about the Gulf of Tonkin that never happened, that started the Vietnam War and got 1 million Vietnamese killed and over 58,000 American servicemen. And, if they're willing to falsify an act of war to destroy an entire nation and kill 1 million people, what makes you think that shooting 60 people at a Las Vegas country music festival would be a big deal? That's what I try to explain to people. So, not all things are conspiracies, of course, but we certainly dive into things that are controversial and explore the truth and debate that stuff.
Well, like I said, it's a very cool show, and I'm kind of hooked now. So you got me on that one.
Well, we appreciate it. We're just doing our best to change the negative connotation that the word conspiracy has with Americans, and the conspiracy theory stuff started, when JFK was murdered, and that was to throw everybody off the trail, basically. So we are redefining the word conspiracy, because many of the things that we were talking about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago have all come true. And everybody doubted us, laughed at us, called us tinfoil hat wearing fools and everything else. And eventually the media has to tell the truth because the pressure's on them, because everybody in America knows, but the media is still lying. And eventually in their meetings, their production meetings, I'm sure that they're sitting there going, Jesus, guys, we look like fools right now because we're not telling the truth. And everybody knows the truth. So we've got to come out and just say it, and I see it over and over.
All right. Well, Thank you for sharing the what do you call it?
We'll just call it the gospel.
There you go, the gospel of the show. I like it. Anyways, now this is a combat sports podcast, so we're gonna ask you a few questions about that. So my first one is, what is the more what accomplishment do you hold highest throughout your entire career? Is it being the first welterweight champ for the UFC, being inducted to the Hall of Fame or your really brilliant career broadcasting for Access TV Fights or your podcast, which one means more to you?
Well, I mean, to me, as far as the sport of mixed martial arts goes, my coaching career means the most to me because, you know, I helped over 90 young men and women end up, you know, in televised combat sports careers, and you know, so that's big. We had, you know, in different organizations, whether it was Pride, UFC, or other major organizations, the IFL and stuff like that. We had 14 world champions. We had 2 world team championships. You know, so that means an awful lot. As far as my broadcasting career, I love calling fights. I love the people I work with Mark Cuban's network, Access TV, and I'm very passionate about that, and I'm very passionate also about, you know, my podcasts.
Well, so the belts and the Hall of Fame titles are kind of low on the list then.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, I to me, being inducted into the Dan Gable National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum was kind of the pinnacle for me as far as that sort of stuff goes. When Dan Gable lets you into something, you've accomplished something. You know, it's you know, the UFC stuff. You know, I was one of the early guys that was involved in it. So if I make it into that, great. You know, but overall, that stuff's just what. Half popularity contest, half getting people to shut up and stop bugging them about letting you in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard you're also trying to make a case for Jens Pulver.
Yeah, I think that Jen should have been in there a long time ago. I mean, Uriah Faber is in there. I have, you know, that's all good, and he's a great guy and was a great fighter. But Jens Pulver was the first 155-pound champion. He beat BJ Penn. He beat, you know, a lot of great fighters in those early days, and you know, it wasn't until his prime was past that he started losing to guys like that. So, you know, Jens definitely deserves to be in there. He was absolutely a pioneer and a monster in his prime.
Well, if it wasn't for him, you don't have your Uriah Fabers or, you know, your lighter weight classes in the UFC. I'm 100% behind that.
Yeah, because I mean, he made it popular. He was knocking people out. He was smashing people because he hit with so much power. He was putting people to sleep and powdering people's jaws. And that, it doesn't matter what size they are. If you can do that, you're exciting.
Yeah, exactly. We actually, excuse me, we named one of our dogs after him.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
Well, it was a pit bull, you know, really lovable dog, but the eyes were the 2 different colors like him. So
cool.
The dog had plenty of personality. I think he would be proud to have that dog named after him.
That's pretty cool.
But I mean, all of our dogs and animals are named after MMA fighters or, you know, anybody in that industry because I'm passionate about it. So hence, you know, the podcast. But cool. So you've talked about your coaching career, which you definitely hold dear. Your many Hall of Fames that you're in, your accolades, your everything that you've done. What do you enjoy more, your podcast, your broadcasting, or coaching?
You know, I really enjoyed the coaching, but the coaching was so time consuming. You know, I mean, for most of my coaching career, I was also a competitor, so it was. You know, I was burning the candle level. Well, I was burning the candle at both ends, going 110 miles an hour for well over a decade, probably 15 years. So. You know, that took its toll on me, to be honest with you. And as I got a little bit older, I started realizing that I had kind of accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish as a coach and an athlete, and that there were a lot of other things out there. But the coaching, you know, it's tough to replace the fighting and the coaching with anything else. You know, so that certainly euphoric, adrenaline filled intensity, you know, that period of life is you really just can't match that. So, but you know, at this current stage of my life, you know, I enjoy just the opportunity that people are even willing to listen to me, to be honest with you, when it comes to my podcast, when it comes to Access TV broadcasts and all that stuff.
Well, you're good at it all. I mean, I don't really think there's anything that you've dabbled into that you haven't been good at, and I'm sure you probably have a small list yourself. But
well, that's the thing that I tell people is, nobody knows the thousands of things that I've failed at. You know what I mean? It's the few things that I've actually, been able to make contact with the ball and hit it over the fence. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. It's just, I tell people that don't get down on yourself for failing, over and over and over at something. You'll if you're passionate about it, keep going. And if you find that many times, I didn't even plan on being on TV. I had no plan of holding a microphone, whether I was doing radio shows, podcasts, or live TV broadcasts. I had zero intention of that. I had a full intention of running my martial arts schools and just doing that. And life took me in a different direction for numerous reasons and circumstances that arose. And, I by chance got a shot to be on Showtime Sports to call one show when Frank Shamrock, who was the normal color commentator, was fighting Nick Diaz. And the executive producer, David Dinkins at Showtime, said after the show, he goes, you're actually pretty good at this. Would you like to maybe sign a contract with us and stay on board? And I jumped at the chance, and I found it pretty thrilling. Working with Mauro Ranallo, who's a very talented guy, and Stephen Quadros and all the folks over there, Al Bernstein, and it was, so I jumped at it.
Awesome. Well, I could go on for hours, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the co-host, who's been very quiet on the other side. Jonathan, what have you got for Pat Miletich?
Hey, how's it going, Pat, man? I'm kind of starstruck right now, sorry. So if I fumble over my words, I do apologize. But I do thank you for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to talk with us, man. I understand that when you had started out in MMA with the UFC and all the other promotions that you had done, they held tournaments. Do you think that in today's age they could hold tournaments like back in the day?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, they could definitely hold tournaments. It's just the tournaments would have to be formatted differently, less time per fight in the cage. You could do 1 or 2 round fights type thing, 4-man tourneys. 8-man tourneys would have to be single 5-minute rounds type thing. And just a 1-round chance shot to win the fight. And, because it comes down to a total of can't be in the cage longer than 25 minutes. So that's how you'd have to do the math on that, and several states are willing to do that and have allowed that. So that's the thing.
Wow.
That, just to avoid when I first started fighting in tournaments, there was no time limit and no rules. So I watched guys. I was fairly lucky in the fact that even though it was no weight divisions, no time limits, no rules, all that stuff, I was able to finish people really quick and conserve my energy. Where there were guys in my bracket, at the Battle of the Masters in Chicago, the couple of them that I did up there, those guys were 240 pounds and beating the hell out of each other for 30 minutes, 40 minutes type stuff, and just knocking the fight out of each other. So by the time they got to me, they were pretty beat up hamburgers. So, but yeah, they could do tournaments again, and I think it would be very exciting, actually.
Yeah, I think it would be too. I love tournament style fighting and all that stuff. So yeah. I think that'd be really interesting to see what they could come up with now.
Right.
My second question is, what was your most favorite fight, whether you won or lost? What was, just what was your favorite fight?
I really don't even think about that sort of stuff that much anymore. Never really even. But probably one of my funnest fights that I've ever had, gosh, let me think. Probably when I lost the title to Carlos Newton. I was having a blast, actually. That was a fun fight. There were fights that were a grind and miserable. Then there were other fights that were, a blast. So, but the Carlos Newton one was actually a lot of fun, even though I lost the title that night.
Well, it also paved the way for Matt Hughes too, so you can't really complain too bad.
Right. Yeah, we were hell bent on getting that back.
Okay, and my final question for you: if you had never gotten into MMA, what would you have done?
Wow, yeah, that's a tough one. Well, I was originally going to school for marketing and advertising, so I mean, but who knows? Who knows? Probably I'd be fat, 300 pounds, sitting behind a desk somewhere.
So you'd be like me then, huh?
Well, it's everything happens for a reason, and my mom got sick with heart problems when I was in school, and so all my older brothers and my sister were married and had families, and were really couldn't take care of her at the time. So I quit college and went back home and helped take care of her. We worked 3 jobs and ended up starting to kickbox and doing boxing and some other stuff to make some money on Friday and Saturday nights, and kind of just evolved into bigger and better things.
Awesome. And do you think with you getting into the kickboxing and stuff, did that help take your mind off of what was going on in your personal life? Just getting in there and just kind of focusing on your craft.
Yeah, I mean, it was it certainly kept me busy, kept me focused, kept me driven on where I was going in life, and staying healthy. And it's easy to get down when times are tough, and that certainly helped kind of channel where I was going in life.
Gotcha.
All right. Pat, like I said, I don't want to take too much of your time. We've already been bullshitting for about 20 minutes almost.
No problem.
But before I let you go, I did have a couple questions for you. First, opponent-wise, weight classes are not involved. Let's just say there's no sanctioning body. If you could fight anybody on planet Earth, now or in your prime, it doesn't matter, who would you fight?
I mean, it would be Frank Shamrock. Frank ducked me when we were UFC champions, and he ducked me when we were commentators at Showtime when we were calling fights, and he had fought Diaz and fought Kung Lee and stuff like that. And, for whatever reason, he just would never fight me. But when we were at the UFC and both champions, I was champion of the welterweight division, and he was champion of the division above middleweight. And I said, dude, why don't we fight and unify this belt and make some money? And he looked at me and he said, Pat, it's not always about fighting the toughest people. And he was a very smart businessman. Even a lot of times, people don't realize it. He was very sharp and astute when it came to business. And, that's why he left the UFC with the championship belt. He did not renegotiate. That's why that champions clause is now in there, because of Frank Shamrock. You cannot leave as a champion. You cannot leave and go fight somewhere else as a UFC champion. You have to lose that belt before you're allowed out of your contract, because there's always that one more fight you have to do. So that champions clause, keeps people kind of enslaved to the UFC, no matter what they try and do. So he left with the belt, went to Strikeforce, and ended up getting a percentage of ownership of Strikeforce. And so when the UFC ended up buying Strikeforce, I'm sure he made quite a good chunk of change, and probably set his family up for life. So he knew what he was doing.
Damn. Okay. So no Bruce Lees, no Jean-Claude Van Damme's.
No.
All right. And what advice would you give for up-and-coming fighters?
I would say if it is not number one on your list in terms of literally the moment you open your eyes to the time you go to sleep, that's all you live for. It's the wrong business to be in, because when you lose in other sports, you might lose on the scoreboard, but in this sport, when you lose, you take severe damage many times if you're up against somebody who's a world-class fighter. And that stuff comes back to haunt people. I've seen it numerous times in guys as they've gotten older, that they have a lot of problems physically, mentally, with the punishment, the amount of punishment that they've taken. So look, if you're gonna pay that kind of price, make it worth your while. Do it 100%. Make sure that you're there to win a world title. If you're not there to win a world title, frankly, it's really not worth it. You shouldn't even be in there, because it's a very hostile environment against fighters that are world-class fighters and people that absolutely have to win to pay their bills, or they're going to, end up with an empty refrigerator. They will do damage on you, and they will do it gladly. So.
All right. Well, holy fuck. We just did an interview with Mr. Pat Miletich. Dude, thank you for your time. Thank you for your career and all your ventures that you dive into. Successful or not, you're a pretty big inspiration to a couple goofballs like me and Jonathan. So, again.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. And then any of your listeners that want to follow me on Twitter can go to at Pat Miletich.
Oh, shit. Yeah, shout out. Hey, sponsors.
Yeah, they can also follow Conspiracy Farm 1 on Twitter. That's our podcast, and then they can go to iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and find The Conspiracy Farm. Always starts with The Conspiracy Farm, and listen to some of the gospel.
And where can they pick up your merch?
You know what? We're just now rebuilding a website right now with theconspiracyfarm.com and all that sort of stuff, so they can go there and they'll be able to find a lot of the stuff on. We also do a 93.5 ESPN radio show called Everything Combat, and that is not necessarily about literal fighting, although we've had mixed martial artists on there. It's more about the tagline for that one is because life is a fight. So it's anybody who's succeeded in life through tough times, anybody who's overcome cancer, poverty to become financially wealthy, to help other people who have done miraculous and amazing things. We just had a gentleman on who survived a double grizzly attack in Montana and walked 3.5, 4 miles out to his car and still filmed himself talking to the camera, with his scalp hanging off of him and all kinds of puncture wounds and chunks torn out of him by grizzlies. So that's the type of stuff we want. We want people who have done some pretty amazing things in life.
Okay, cool. And any more plugs you want to put in there?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you for your time, and it was good talking to you. Great talking to you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you, you too.